Now the next film, I'm going to take a bit of a break, get some stuff done, do the dishes, you know, do a bit of housework, go out to the shop, get some stuff for dinner. We changed our dinner plan, so I'm going to be making myself some beef tacos, which if you're a follower of my channel, you've seen me cook that and eat that 1,000 times. I won't show you any of that stuff. Just assume that I'm eating tacos tonight. I'll probably mention it later on as well. So yeah, I'll probably take a bit of a break. Longer than I would have liked, and then we'll get right back to it. And I'm hoping to do 2 more films at least, so I can have 4 feature films done by tonight, and maybe another short as well. I'd love to kind of round off today with 5 films. So finally, to round off this trilogy of British invasion in the Silent Movie Marathon 3, another British film, one I had never heard of before. I guess I'd never heard of the Hitchcock film either, to be honest, but this is a new release that came out this year from the BFI, Shooting Stars. Now this is an interesting film because it is about films. It's a film about films, and apparently it's basically about people who make movies and things like that, and kind of takes you behind the curtain a little bit. Not a documentary, but a fiction narrative, as far as I'm aware, about people who make movies. It says a must-see for silent cinema fans. Shooting Stars is the brilliant and assured debut from British filmmaking legend Anthony Asquith, who oversaw the production despite the directing credit going to A.V. Bramble. Interesting. Offering a fascinating insight into the workings of a 1920s London film studio and boasting a boldly expressionist shooting style, dramatic lighting, and great performances from its leads. It is at once a sophisticated morality tale and an affectionate critique of the film industry. Very cool. I'm looking forward to watching this one. And also, speaking of lighting, the lighting in Downhill was fantastic as well. Some great moments of lighting that really added a lot of mood to the shots. And there's a great scene where the lead character, I should just hold this up, the lead character, Roddy, Ivor Novello, he gets taken onto this boat and he's at his absolute worst, and he gets dragged down these stairs and the light is coming down from the stairs. Beautiful shot. I mean, there's some fantastic lighting, especially on the close-ups of him at times as well. His eyes sparkling, but sparkling with the right kind of, you know, despair. It gave that good look to it. So, you know, yeah, it's still a very good film, but it's disappointing, overly long for me. So yeah. But Shooting Stars, I'll be watching that next, so I will see you when I start watching this, which will be probably in a couple of hours for me, but instantaneously for you. Awesome. The curtain the curtain hath been lifted. So the opening sequence to this so far has been great, and there's a bit where the film crew are yelling up to the lighting guy, and he goes, and he says something. I can just tell by the way his mouth is moving that he's got a thick London Cockney accent. There's just something about the way his mouth moves. I can't even describe it, but I instantly pegged him as like one of those kind of old-timer London accents. So that was really funny on a really weird, random thing to spot level. Wow, an amazing shot there that just went through the entire studio. From like, and it's really high up, and it's like it pans over the whole thing. You see all the setup, the lights, the rigs, the scaffolding, cameramen, musicians. Follows what the characters, who looks like she's going to be one of the main characters of the film. This actress, who you saw in that clip just then, she walks all the way through the studio, up some stairs, up onto another set that's on like a first floor level, and we're now looking at that set, and it's still the same take. A really long shot showing you everything. Yeah, it's rare to see a shot like this in silent films. You know, they were done, but that one was it's still going. It's still going. You're seeing them filming. Okay, it's stopped now. But yeah, that was like a good maybe 45-second shot. You know, I don't think it was a full minute, but that was great. You just got to see everything, and I just had to point that out. So really loving this so far. Alright, it's 8:45 and I'm done with Shooting Stars. Just terrible, absolutely terrible. You know, sometimes old movies, they're just shit. What are you giving me that look for?
Are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Okay.
Why you give me that look? You didn't see the film.
No, but like you agreed that the music was amazing,
Right.
and you once went,
Yeah.
and you put your hands to your face, and you don't do that very often.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah. So oh, the jig is up. The jig is up. So yeah, I love the film. Awesome. It's not a masterpiece or anything, but I do think it's a great film, and I just enjoyed the hell out of it. I mean, you saw the bits when I was filming at the beginning. I loved the opening with all the stuff behind the scenes on the movie set, and it focuses on three main characters. May Feather, who is this actress, and she's a famous actress in movies. Julian Gordon, who is her husband, who is also an actor, and they act in movies together. And they do kind of like romantic kind of lead roles, you know, kind of goofy films, you know, and they kind of take the piss in this film of those kind of popular movies, you know, the guy rescues the girl, and it's a bit of a satire on that a little bit. And then there's a third character called Andy Wilkes, who is kind of your Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin type, though a much lower rent version. Just a guy in like a goofy hat and a goofy mustache, and he does like slapstick movies. And throughout this film you see him making his latest feature, people watching behind the scenes, you see it get shot, you see how they put slates in front of the camera, like if a take goes wrong, they'll write "do not print this" and they'll film a little clip of it, things like that. You'll see them filming on the beach on location, getting a stunt double involved, and that plays into the storyline. And essentially what you get is kind of a love triangle in the midst of all this kind of behind the scenes movie stuff. I did love all the behind the scenes on the set, things like that, and the trials and tribulations of being an actor, and kind of, again, taking the piss out of it a tiny bit of a satire, I think, and also seeing May Feather kind of go through this, you know, she shoots a scene, she goes to a dressing room, she takes her wig off, she puts on her fake beauty spot when an interviewer comes in to ask her about herself, and, you know, she comes across as a bit of a bitch in the beginning, but as soon as she's interviewed, she's all, oh yeah, I love children, and I love sunsets and all this, and you see the interviewer writing all these notes down, so that you see poking fun at the artificiality of movie stars, but also when this love triangle kind of comes up, I loved how there were some scenes that were very dark in terms of not the content, but the visual. You know, a lot of skulking around and you know, being secretive, and a couple of characters in kind of a, you know, dark room and lit very moodily and stuff. But when they're in that room, out the window you see this big building with neon lights, you know, May Feather starring in this movie. It's like they can never escape the life of being a movie star, and it's always hanging over them in some way, shape or form, to the point where, I mean, it's obviously she's involved in the love triangle, and that comes into the plot as well, where she's signing a contract to go make movies in America, because this is a British film, it's set in the British film industry. She's about to sign a contract to go make films in America, and one of the clauses is that she cannot be involved in any scandalous behaviour that might, you know, reflect negatively on, you know, her image, and therefore the studio that's hiring her and stuff. Lots of great scenes, but the music, oh man, did the music stand out. It was absolutely phenomenal. Did an amazing job with the score. I loved the way the piano sounded, was beautiful. The saxophones that came in, it was all appropriate and kind of like it just fit the tone. But yet again, just like the Chaplin film earlier, there was a scene which was really pivotal to the film. I'd say even more pivotal than the scene in the Chaplin film where the music was off. It was like the thing that's been building up in this love triangle for like over an hour, and finally, you know, it comes out, and the music is all jaunty and, you know, jazzy and stuff, and it just, you know, the acting was great, the way it was set up was great, the time they gave it was great, but it just didn't fit, and I was like, again? But most of the film, 90% of it, the music really fit, and it was awesome. Like, I want to download the score and just listen to it. I thought it was awesome. Definitely one of the best silent scores I've heard, and it's always tricky when you're composing a score for a film that was made 90 years ago, and you got to try and make it sound like it fits the time and all that kind of thing. And when you're dealing with scores that are made decades and decades and decades after the film was made, and you don't have the ability to talk to the director or anything like that, you've got to just kind of feel it out for yourself. Even in the booklet, I quickly scanned through it. I want to read through more of it because I really love this film, but the guy who composed the music did an interview for the booklet and talked about how difficult it was to kind of approach it, and I bet it is. Oftentimes my favourite silent film scores are scores that were written at the time of the film being made, and you know, the access to that music is there and they recreate it with an orchestra. But this is a new score, and I think it worked wonderfully for 90% of the film. There's another part near the end which is a really serious, like, down moment, and again the music, it was a bit more upbeat than I would have liked, especially because they had a great kind of downbeat kind of theme that they used throughout the film. A lot of the music is similar. There's not tons and tons of themes. It is 100 minutes of continuous music, so it does repeat itself a lot. But because I loved it so much, I was happy to hear it again and again, and I just thought it was a wonderful score. It was a wonderful film with some shocks, some twists, some turns, and I love the title Shooting Stars because it has a lot of different meanings to it. That you can, I'd say there's at least 3 ways you can read into the title Shooting Stars, and I'll say no more than that. I doubt anyone is going to really go out and watch this, really. But well, you should give me the nod, like, yeah, wrap it up, is it?
No, Shooting Stars.
Yeah,
I can think of one of them.
But you know, shoot, it reminds me of the Rush album, Moving Pictures. The album cover of that is some people, like delivery men, moving these big portraits. So they're moving pictures, and then there's people watching the portraits crying. They're being moved by the pictures, and then on the back of the album you see that it's just a big movie set, so they're filming a moving picture. You know, I like that kind of thing. This one isn't quite elaborate, but you can definitely look into the title in quite a few ways. So Shooting Stars, great British film. I'm trying to think, have I seen many British silent films apart from the Hitchcock Familiar? I'm not sure, to be honest, but yeah, I mean, easily the best British silent film I've seen, but I think that's the only 2 so far. I'm not too sure. Anyway, one thing I wanted to add about the film is that it is pretty much the same length as Downhill, and at times it does slow down a bit, like it goes away from the behind-the-scenes movie-making stuff, and it's more focused on those 3 main characters, and it does slow down quite a bit, but for some reason I just think the pacing was handled so much better. I suppose there are more scenes, there's more things going on, but this was a film where it was exactly the same length as the Hitchcock film Downhill, but I could have watched this if they had the same pace, the same fun, the same kind of inventive use of the camera and things like that. I would have watched this for 3 hours and been happy. I wanted more of it, you know, it was great. The ending was great too. The ending kind of, I liked what they did with it, and I'll say no more. There's a great shot where they're filming a scene in a church and it looked great. I was like, wow, that's a great set. Is it a set or is it a backdrop painting? And then suddenly the camera moves down and you see that it's not even a backdrop, it's a front drop. It's like in front of the set, and you go underneath and you see the lights, you see a guy in the background painting another set. It was an amazing shot. It was kind of, they kind of opened the film with a great shot like that and ended it with one like towards the end as well. So lots of good stuff in it. It kind of overhypes it a little bit on the back, saying that it's amazing, innovative, you know, expressionistic shooting style. Not really, but there are flashes of that throughout, and the pacing was definitely very good. It got top marks from me. Love this film. Definitely one I'll be revisiting again and again. It's got loads of special features, but they don't seem to be linked to the film whatsoever, which is kind of disappointing. There's a lot of stuff in the booklet. The original screenplay is included on the DVD disc, which is really cool. But most of all the special features just seem to be silent era UK movie industry based stuff. So yeah, I'll have to look into that at some point. But there you go. The next film I'll have to decide on, and I'm going to go out for another quick walk, come back and probably watch one more film. So yeah, loved Shooting Stars, can't say enough good things about it, and yeah, that's it.